So, a D-list actor who's actually Hispanic is upset and screaming about racial representation in an animated movie. Why does this not surprise me? There's a key phrase I want you guys to learn, and it is a lack of relevance, or you could probably think about the phrase trying to stay relevant, which is exactly what John Leguizamo is doing here. Now, guys, I am putting up the article for you guys. I'm seeing how this person was upset that he was not involved in the script to an animated film, which, by the way, Chris Pratt, not exactly an Italian, is obviously playing an Italian plumber, but this is a kid's movie, a movie designed for kids, of which adults can still watch, especially adults my age. Now, why would that be the case? Well, Mario Brothers came out in the 80s, and obviously me being born in the 80s and growing up in the 90s, obviously having a Nintendo, a Super Nintendo, an N64, not to mention the fact also PlayStation, PlayStation 2, all the video game systems. And of course, any chance I get to play a Mario Brothers game, even if it's the old one on a different type of system or one of those cheap knockoffs, I'm going to play it because Mario Brothers was great. Everybody my age knows who the hell Super Mario is. Everybody my age knows who the hell Luigi is, okay? Italian plumbers, put inside of a video game to go up against a King Koopa or Bowser to save the princess, to save the Toad Kingdom. So really just a child's toy when you think about it, obviously for fun, but adults can still play it, and adults would probably watch and reminisce with their kids on this iconic character to them because this iconic character was basically the fixture of just about every household. However, we get people like John Leguizamo, who, by the way, played in the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Film. That film, by the way, had Dennis Hopper and Bob Haskins and Samantha Mathis, Jet, whatever her name is. So she hasn't been around in a while. So, I mean, just this chick right here. So, the thing is this right here. That film was rated one of the worst films of all time. Yet, still, people my age, from time to time, we may look at that film anyways, just to try to get whatever cheap laughs we can get out of it. I mean, it was basically, a lot of people now say it might have been ahead of its time, even though it really and truly didn't make any sense. Still, when you've made a film in 1993 and you feel that you have to be attached to the script of this film here, which came out some 30 odd years later. By the way, Easter weekend, theaters are open. It's probably going to do pretty well at the box office. As a matter of fact, it's already done so. So it doesn't surprise me that somebody who is not exactly what we call relevant anymore is raising hell about this and screaming racism, which, by the way, the racism here is completely imagined because most racism from the infected is, in fact, imaginary. No, I'm not surprised that John Leguizamo, an actor who, quite frankly, is no longer relevant, is screaming and hollering about the lack of representation in a film that portrays an Italian plumber, of which being played by a white guy, Chris Pratt, is doing the voice. However, you can't sit here and scream that this animated film doesn't have any diversity. You can't. Let me explain why. You got two Italian plumbers. You've got toads, white girls. What else do you have? Lizards, Koopas, all being voiced by actors of a different color. It just so happens to be that John Leguizamo was just not invited to the party because even woke Hollywood understands that John Leguizamo is no longer relevant. So no, it does not surprise me that some actor who is completely infected with the woke sickness is upset that he was not included in the script. But still, though, I hope this movie succeeds because this film apparently seems to undermine Disney's overall line about the message. I've been seeing a lot of reports on this, but this kind of goes with this theme I've been running with, and this theme I'm going to be going with from now on. You see, the vast majority of the left is, like I've been saying, or I did in the previous two videos today, for the most part, they're just good old-fashioned miserable people. Hey, quick, let's not act like Leguizamo, this is the only movie that Leguizamo was ever in. John has been in some other movies. Some of these movies are actually quite decent. Of course, the movie that first comes to my mind was the movie Pest, which was actually horrible. But Spawn was okay. Executive Decision. Now, Executive Decision is one of my favorite movies. Hell, Steven Seagal gets killed in that movie. People forget John Leguizamo, he was in that movie. Now, here's the thing. John, you've actually had a pretty good career. Why the hell are you raising hell over some movie that scores like not even 40% in the Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes? By the way, guys, really quick piece of advice. If you're worried about a movie before you walk in, just understand that critics oftentimes will give high ratings to crap films and they'll give extremely low ratings to good films. I could give you guys many examples, which, by the way, we'll be talking more about in the whole how is pop culture relevant? Why it is important? But just know right now, if you want to know how a movie probably is, maybe you should look at the audience score. Never look at Rotten Tomatoes. Never look at Metacritic. Look at the audience ratings first. Because once again, people like John don't seem to realize that while he's got a couple of gems out there, most people just don't like his films. Maybe that right there is the real reason why he's trying to regain some of his relevance back. And of course, he's doing it using the whole woke label. He's using race, when race, quite frankly, should not be an issue. You see, race would not be an issue if people just didn't bring it up constantly. As I've said before, in the 90s and early 2000s, long before Barack Hussein Obama showed up, people could tell these jokes and not get offended. People could have serious, honest-to-God conversations and get along. But obviously, the media and certain politicians, and there's some on the right as well, chose to inflame the situation. And they chose to make matters a lot worse. Like I said before, this right here would not be an issue if you just wouldn't freaking bring it the hell up every 2 seconds of your miserable life. And by miserable, what I mean is essentially, who the hell has time to bitch and bellyache and complain about this entire thing? Who the hell has the time to bitch and bellyache about imaginary races? Who the hell has the time to show up to a protest in Tennessee? Who the hell has time to do this? Obviously, people who have no jobs, people who have no relevance, people who are childish, people who, quite frankly, just aren't important. And them not being important anymore kind of tells you all you need to know about these people. They are, in fact, just good old-fashioned unhappy people. Now, what do you do when it comes to the topic of unhappy people? Well, if somebody's unhappy in their life, you typically tend to reach out to them. You typically tend to talk to them. But of course, a lot of these infected, they like to do what an infected do. They attack you. They go after you. They attack you personally. They bring up crap that is no longer outside of you. I mean, think about something really quick. The whole term cancel culture. Think about this really quick. And I know that cancel culture was not meant to be brought up in this video, but I'm going to bring it up. Think about this really quick. Who the hell goes out of their way to actually cancel somebody? Who the hell has got the time to dig into somebody's past some 10 to 15 to 20 years to dig up some tweet? Who the hell has got the time to actually sit around and go through your entire past to try to find some dirt on you? Obviously, people who have a lot of discontent and a lot of hatred in their system and in their souls. Most normal people don't do this. As I just said before, these people are obviously miserable. And their entire goal in life is to spread the misery regardless of how it is done, through tweets, through op-eds, through reports, through television, through pure hatred. The sooner people realize that the infected are just good old-fashioned people who aren't happy, the sooner it is that you can go through life not taking these people serious. Which is exactly what needs to happen. People need to not take these people serious anymore. As many have said, simply pat them on the head like a dog and walk off. Or you get the situation where you find out that a lot of these people, especially these young people who argue for the green, I can't say the actual words because YouTube has got this little triggering system where certain words trigger the algorithm and you're not allowed to go through the algorithm to get views or anything, to get your message out. The thing you have to understand is that these people are people who, quite frankly, have never paid any bills. These are people who've grown up in suburban areas. These are people who love the virtue signal. These are people who never got, quote-unquote, spanked as a child. These are people who never got disciplined. Because at the end of the day, that's kind of what liberalism is. Freedom without any type of accountability. It's another reason why I always give libertarians hell, because they want the exact same thing. They're not that different from the left when you think about it. But still at the same time, though, ask yourself a question. Who the hell has got the time and the resources to go through all the nonsense to come up with something like, say, well, I don't like this film and I don't like these people because there's no racial representation in this film. There's a lack of it. We want Hispanics in this film. Seriously, dude? You're upset? No. John, you're upset because the disaster of the film you started in 1993 is basically getting pushed to the side. Which I really find hilarious, too, because one of the MOs of these people is to take down statues, is to go after the past, to go after your past, to then turn right back around, also at the same time and say, we have to get rid of anything and everything in this nation that represents something bad. I, on the other hand, regardless of how bad the statue is, say, leave it up. You know, in Seattle, there's a statue of Vladimir Lenin, one of the greatest tricksters in human history. But I say, you know what? Leave that statue up, because people need to be reminded of who this individual is, so that way people can actually research who that individual is and research the MOs and the tactics that he used to take over a country and completely ruin it, and completely ruin an entire civilization, which, by the way, eventually led to Stalin, who eventually, indiscriminately, got millions and millions and millions killed. This right here, of course, was before World War II. See, people oftentimes forget about the Soviet Union before World War II. Millions were getting killed before the actual war. And then millions more died during the war. Then millions more died after the war through this murderous dictator. If Vladimir Lenin did not exist, you would not have gotten Stalin. The same argument can be used against Confederate statues. I've always said the same exact thing. Leave the statues up. We need to be reminded of where we came from. But once again, though, those miserable wokesters now find a way to find another grift. Fact of the matter is that these people are, in fact, miserable. They are looking for some form of relevance. Don't give them the high ground. Don't allow these people to gain back any type of relevance at all, because at the end of the day, these people are just good old-fashioned, undisciplined children who, quite frankly, should have gotten spanked. In my video that I did today on the Tennessee protests, I mentioned the fact that what people should do during these protests is that they should find good ways of handling these ordeals. You don't have to get violent with these people. All you have to do is just simply rub their nose in crap. I suggested in that video that maybe what you should do is open up some like the little small holes in these doors or whatnot, you know, the thing that you look through, and while these people are asleep, hurl stink bombs at them. Why is that? Well, these people don't exactly know what adversity is, and even though it's not really adversity to do so, it's still pretty fun to do. Make these people actually smell crap, and eventually you guys will begin to see a little bit of an adjustment in their attitude and their behavior. With that right there being said, guys, John Claymore here. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, share the video, sign up in the comment section. Happy Easter to all you. If you do not believe in celebrating Easter, that is your MO. I'm not going to give you hell about it, even though I may disagree with you on some of those things. It's okay. It's cool. We can have these type of disagreements. But these type of disagreements that we have need to be done with people with actual, honest-to-God, open minds. Not these irrelevant children looking for relevance. But still, though, happy Easter. I hope you guys had a good Friday, even though this video is coming out on Saturday afternoon. And I'll see you guys on Monday. But please leave a comment. And if you're new, please subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.